My name is Jen, and I'm originally from Southern California, but I moved here because I fell in love with my husband and Washington. I love it here. I'm a classically trained chef. I spent years in New York, so I love to cook. My life before it came to a sudden halt, I'll say, I was very active, and again, I love cooking, I love sports, and actually, writing's always been a real dream of mine and a passion, but I never thought I would go anywhere with it. And then from my deathbed, we'll say, this dream came true. And it was really cool to find different ways of holding on to life when originally I was told that I was going to die, and I had a whole team of people helping me figure out how to comfortably die until I met Dr. Chen. And that changed basically our strategy and how to help me live. I mean, you would never know I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. My mom actually passed away of the same cancer. It's a genetic mutation, and it started in my lungs and moved to my brain. We moved back here. We were looking for a home, and I just kept getting sicker and sicker. And then we got the news that I had terminal cancer. And everyone asked us, are you just going to stop looking for a house now? And my very Persian father, who I love very much, said, you will not die in an apartment. You kids will get a house. I'll do everything I can to help you. And so we live a mile from the beach now in Edmonds, in a small, lovely, happy home. And I have been healing in this home. And so we like to say what started out as a death sentence has become a life sentence, and we've been living life ever since. And I don't mean just breathing, I mean living, which is a huge difference. When I first met Dr. Chen, I was very honest with him. I'm an open book. And when you get cancer, you really have a choice, I believe, to go one of two ways with it. And you know, I want to fight to be here, but I needed the right doctor and the right team of people who believed that they could help me live. So when I met him the first time, I couldn't walk. I was crunched over. Kevin on one side, my dad on the other. We walked into Dr. Chen's office. I had never met him before. And I tried my best to go upright because I was crouched over. And I said, I have one question. I could barely talk. My voice was so shaky. And I said, will you help me? Will you help me live? And he very compassionately answered back and very simply said, yes, I have hope for you. And that's all I needed in a doctor. And so, you know, I love Dr. Chen for many reasons. But most of all is because he does have hope. He has hope for me and the rest of his patients. The recent MRI of my brain, they can't believe it. There is nothing detected. Nothing. Not one spot, not even scar tissue, which is pretty remarkable. I had tumors all throughout my brain. And my lungs, there's still 2 spots. One is shrinking. And they could be scar tissue at this point. They could still be tumors. And as far as a PET scan, this is pretty amazing. The activity went from 8.1 to 2.6. And how I understand that, 2.6 is baseline, which means there is no cancer even detected in my body. And so, I mean, that's, again, I think pretty remarkable and a miracle. And I'm just so very thankful that I have a team of people who truly care about me and what happens to me and are rooting for me to live too. And I am, and I'm very thankful. I was diagnosed November of 2016. I had a cold that wouldn't go away, and we went from begging doctors to take x-rays and CT scans for months to being told one day in the ER that I have stage 4 cancer, and everything stopped for us. The hardest thing, I think, was calling my dad because he had watched my mom pass away of the same cancer. Now that I have a child, I can only imagine what he felt. So we were told that I had maybe 5 years, maybe, and I was devastated. We were devastated, and I was devastated for my child and my husband. I think when you have cancer, when you're told of any diagnosis, I mean, it's all relative, right? You can only take in so much, truly, and you're trying your best, and your loved ones are trying, and you're bringing someone to take notes with you at the appointments, but you're all still in shock, I believe, at every point of the diagnosis. And I was told that I needed to relax in my cancer. And that was hard. Nobody was relaxing. And anyone fighting anything out there knows if you're told that at the beginning, that's a hard message. And so I was given a lot of drugs, and I was even given morphine. And this morphine was at a level that made me like a zombie. Everything was so extreme, and I felt as if I wasn't being heard. Yes, I get it. I've got stage 4 cancer, or I had. I'm going to say that. But I'm an individual, and I might be needing something different than the other patients. And I have to say this, and I want to be very sensitive with my words because I don't want to put anyone down. But when I would go in the waiting room, I saw a waiting room of people waiting to die. It was really hard to go every week and see that. The first time I went to Dr. Chen's office, we were waiting in the waiting room, scared and nervous. And I heard laughter coming from behind this door. And I said to my husband, what the heck is going on back there? And the first couple times I'd gone for treatment, you're not in your own room. You're in a big room with people who are truly happy and people who are living. And I saw people living more in that room with less than people who have everything at their fingertips. I mean, it was just amazing. And to see that showed me something special is happening here. They don't mask over the reality of any of this by any means. Dr. Chen is very honest and straightforward, and he respects the patient. If you want to know the truth and you want him to be very black and white, he will. If you need compassion, he'll very generously and genuinely give it to you. And to have a doctor who's brilliant but also has that peace, that's where the hope comes into place, and that's where you go every week knowing I've got a team of people who want to help me live and other patients who are rooting for each other too. And that's really special to me and my family. When I moved here, I said, I think I want to nanny kids. There was an ad in a paper for a family in Seattle looking for a nanny. And I answered it. This mother worked for Dr. Chen. She was a nurse of his. When I was having all these difficulties, she said, why don't you try this doctor named Dr. Chen? I worked for him. I know him well. I think this is your doctor. The first day I went to Dr. Chen's, this sweet little nurse named Sue came up to me and said, are you Mia's friend? And I said, yes. And she said, we're here to take care of you. And Sue and Mia, the mother of these children, worked together for years and years. So that's how I found Dr. Chen. I'm very careful on what advice I would say I would give. But the one thing I would say is, don't lump us all together. I still want to be seen for Jen. And I get that when I go see Dr. Chen. He sees me. He has seen me at each step of this way. And I don't mean sick Jen. I mean Jen. Hope is a big theme. And Dr. Chen had hope for me. Day one, that's the question I had for him, was, will you help me live? And when he said, I have hope for you. But hope doesn't happen alone. I can't hope for myself on my deathbed. I was in bed for 6 months. I couldn't get out of bed, listening to my child, my 2-year-old, live outside of the walls of my room. And mommy couldn't get up and play with her. I had people around the entire United States and some in other countries praying for me. They had the hope for me when I couldn't have it for myself. And I know that I'm sitting here because of the prayers of individuals who took time to pray for me. And I'm sitting here because of God's grace. And I don't understand it all, and I'm not going to pretend to, but I am very thankful for it. What I do know is that hope is a real thing, and it happens when a collective group of people, Dr. Chen, the nurses at Dr. Chen's, my friends and family, had hope for me, and then I started moving in that hope. And that's a really special thing. And that would also be my advice to those out there. Don't lose hope. For your loved ones who are fighting this, don't lose hope. It'll carry them through. I don't know what the future holds, but none of us do. And instead of worry, I'm going to hold on to the days I'm given and run with them. And I'm very thankful that I have a loving husband and daughter. And they all rallied around me. We don't have a big family, but we're mighty in love. And so, for anyone fighting anything, it's just really important you have people around you who love you and who can carry you when you can't carry yourself. And so this miracle I believe I've been given, I just hope that I do good with, because living is such a gift. And I'm just thankful to have this opportunity to get to speak about a doctor who helps me live.